So today we're going to be creating some fun abstract acrylic paintings using a variety of different paint application methods. So this is really going to be very fun, very experimental, just creating some interesting backgrounds. And so your assignment is going to be to create 2 different 6x9 abstract backgrounds using acrylic paint. Now you have a couple of different options for what material to work on. You can either take sketchbook paper if you have a 9x12 inch sketchbook like this, and take those and measure them out and cut them in half to make a 6x9, and you'll want 3 pages of that. Or you can work in your handmade sketchbook if you have that from Art2. Those pages are 6x9 as well, but I do recommend, since we're going to be getting really messy, that you keep a blank scrap piece of paper that's larger than your sketchbook behind the page you're working on. That's going to help protect the rest of your sketchbook from getting too messy. Or a third option is you can use a cut up food or cereal box and use the cardboard from that if you measure those out to be 6x9. The other really important thing is that you want to protect your work surface. So you need to spread out something that can get messy and get paint on it. I'm using just some large sheets of scrap newsprint paper. You could even take, if you have some old wrapping paper that you could spread out on your work surface, something that if it gets messy, you can wad it up and throw it in the trash can when you are finished. Another really important thing that you want to think about today is wear some messy painting clothes, something that you're not going to be upset by if you get accidental paint on it. So if you have a painting apron or a painting shirt, something that you can splatter and it's not going to ruin your outfit. So for my demonstration today, I'm going to be working on one piece of white mixed media paper and one piece of the cardboard, just so you can kind of get a feel for how those two different materials work. Now, the first thing you want to do is tape these papers down all the way around all 4 sides using masking tape. Now, masking tape can be a little bit too sticky, and sometimes it can accidentally rip your paper when you go to peel it off later. So a great trick that I like to do is tear the length that I need, stick it to my jeans or the pants I'm wearing, and stick it there first and peel it up, and then I tape it down to my piece of paper. Now I'm covering up just a tiny bit of the border right along the edge, about 1/8 of an inch. But using this technique where you stick it on your clothing before you press it on your paper is a great technique because it removes some of the tackiness of the tape and makes it less likely to tear your paper later. So go all the way around and do this for all 4 sides for both of your pieces that you are going to be working with. Now, once you're ready to paint, you can use really any kind of acrylic paints that you have at home, whether it be craft paint or professional artist quality paints. Any of these are going to work great. I'm going to be using some different experimental techniques that we learned from the other video, using some paint scrapes to start off to fill some color. I like how it has different effects on the 2 different materials, and you can kind of see the transparency of the paint pigment that I'm working with. One really interesting thing to think about as you're working is some paints are opaque and some are transparent, so experimenting with that can be really interesting. So I'm just trying to use some interesting paint application methods that are things that probably anybody would have at home, using some torn up cardboard with a straight edge to scrape paints, using saran wrap to smudge and blot paints in different areas. There I'm even using an actual feather that I found from a bird outside that had dropped to get some really interesting brush marks. And one of my favorite techniques is to use something like a pencil or the back end of a paintbrush and scrape away paint once you start to work with opaque, thick colors. This is a really fun technique because you can create some really interesting marks scraping into the paint, revealing some of the colors underneath. Really explore with this and just have fun. This should be a very intuitive process. Look at how your piece is progressing and see what you think it needs. I am trying to keep each piece very separate with the techniques that I'm working with, creating very unique, different looks to each one. So experiment with that. Now, towards the end, I finally picked up a paintbrush and watered down some paints to create some paint splatters with an old toothbrush. And then there I'm painting some sort of botanical kind of mark making, and then creating some really thin, transparent, watered down washes. So just creating 2 different images that you think are fun, create some interesting textures, and abstract mark making. We're going to be experimenting more with these later, but for today, I think I'm pretty happy with this finished result. The great thing about this project is you just keep layering paint until you find something that you're happy with, and it's very much a push and pull. Add a layer. If you don't like it, put something opaque over top of it and keep right on going. Part of our goal today with this assignment is to loosen up your painting techniques, allow yourself the freedom to experiment, to make mistakes, and to find creative ways of problem solving, and really sort of being reactive and responsive to what's happening on your painting to find good solutions for what to do next. These paintings look great the more layers and things you build up and add onto them, so really have fun with this today.